today's video, I'll be sharing with you some battery saving tips that you can employ on your iPhone 15 or iPhone 15 Pro that will help you attain or just maintain 100% battery health by the end of 1 year. Now, battery health is directly correlated to battery life because the more you use your battery, the more you have to charge your iPhone, and the faster your battery health degrades. So I'll be showing you some battery saving tips that will help you maintain maximum battery health for the longest time possible. So this is a sequel to the iPhone 14 battery saving tips video I made previously, which you guys seem to like. So let's share some of those tips and some extra ones. Number one is optimize charging. Okay, now this is a new feature for the iPhone 15s, especially because we are running iOS 17. But any iPhone running iOS 17 should be able to optimize battery. So battery charging, I mean. So if you go into settings, on the main settings page, go to battery, tap on that. Under battery, go to battery health and charging, tap on that. And then you should see charging optimization. If you go there, you have two options to optimize battery charging. One is optimize battery charging, which basically learns your pattern, and it's going to charge your iPhone up to 80% until when it thinks you're about to pull it out of the charger, and then it's going to start charging towards 100%. Okay, so this is going to learn your pattern and only charge to 100% when you're about to pull out your iPhone out of the charger. Now you have this option, which is a bit more aggressive, but it works better than this, but it's maybe a little too aggressive. Okay, so this one basically limits your charge to 80%. Your iPhone will never charge beyond 80%. And this is mainly because your battery health is determined by the number of charge cycles. And a full charge cycle is from when your battery is charged to 100% to when it degrades to 0%. That's a full charge cycle. So to reduce the number of charge cycles, it's going to limit your battery to 80%. But like I said, this is too aggressive for me. You can choose that if you're really hardcore about saving your battery. But if you want a balance between just proper usage and optimized battery charging, you can choose this option. Okay. Next, I'll show you a very easy thing. Now, if you have light mode theme enabled by default on your iPhone, your screen gets very bright. Now, these are OLED displays. They do get bright, and the iPhone 15s actually have 2000 nits screen brightness. Okay, so these displays get really bright, and that of course is going to affect your battery life. Okay, you're gonna drain your battery faster when your screen is like this. One swift way of countering this is to just enable dark mode. Okay, so if you go into settings, under settings, go to display and brightness, and then enable the dark theme. That puts your iPhone in dark mode. Okay, so you can see all the pixels that were lit brightly are now completely dark. In some of the areas where it's completely dark, it means the pixels are actually off, and because this is an OLED panel, it looks completely dark, so some of the pixels are not even going to be lit, and that's going to save a lot of your battery life. Okay, so you can consider enabling dark mode. If you're comfortable using dark mode, that's going to save you a ton of battery. Now, the other thing you might want to look into is the always on display. Okay, now you can see I have mine disabled, really because I don't need the always on display. Now I'll show you how to go about this. So if you go into settings and then go to display and brightness, and then under display and brightness, you should see the always on display. If you have the always on display enabled, especially if you have also the show wallpaper option enabled, that's going to drain a lot of battery because your iPhone screen will always look like this when the screen is locked. So these are pixels draining your battery, especially if you have the wallpaper enabled in the always on display. So two ways you can do this. You can either just turn off the wallpaper and then have the always on display only show date and time, or you can just turn the whole thing off completely. Depending on what you want, that should save you some battery. Next tip is to close background apps. Now, most of the time when you're using an app on your iPhone and then you exit by swiping up, that app is still running in the background. And to check that, just swipe and hold, and you should see that app is still running in the background. Now, the more apps you have running in the background, the more they drain your iPhone's battery, okay? And the more you're gonna need to charge, and the more you're going to put your battery health maximum capacity at jeopardy. So form a habit of closing unused apps, okay? So every now and then, just swipe up, look at all these unused apps, close them, okay? Just close all of them. If you maintain this habit, you're going to save a lot of battery, okay? So just keep closing all these apps. The ideal scenario is having 0 apps running in the background, and that's going to save you some battery life. Next, keep your iPhone up to date. So Apple keeps pushing updates which make your iPhone more efficient and fixes obviously security bugs. So if you keep your iPhone up to date, you're gonna save some battery, especially if they've pushed some efficiency updates to make some features of the iPhone a bit more efficient. Then you should be able to save battery if you keep your iPhone up to date. So go to General from the settings. Obviously, go to Settings and then go to General and then go to Software Update. Okay, and check if there are updates. So as you can see, we do have an update available. So make sure you download and install any available updates as soon as they are available. Next, disable the 120 Hz refresh rate if you don't need it, okay? Because there's an option on the iPhone to cap the refresh rate to 60 Hz, which is still pretty good if you ask me for everyday use. You might only need 120 Hz when you're doing things like gaming or some other refresh rate intensive activities. So most of the time you don't need that 120 Hz. So to turn it off, go into settings, just go back to the main settings page. On the main settings page, go to accessibility, tap on that. Under accessibility, tap on motion. And then here you should see the option to limit frame rate. When you enable that, it's gonna limit the frame rate to 60 Hz. So your iPhone will never go above 60 Hz because most of the time you really don't need that 120 Hz refresh rate, okay? 60 Hz is still pretty usable, okay? But of course, you don't have to do it. If you feel like it's a bit stuttery, you can always turn that feature off and allow your iPhone to go to 120 Hz. Let's look at the screen timeout period. This is basically the amount of minutes or the amount of time your display will stay on untouched before it automatically goes off and possibly locks your iPhone. So as you can see, the more this display stays on, the more it's draining your battery. So you can change the screen timeout period for the amount of time you want to elapse before your iPhone screen automatically turns off. To do that, go into settings and then go to display and brightness, tap on that, and then go to auto lock. You can see mine is set to 5 minutes. So if it's gonna take 5 minutes every time before my iPhone screen goes off and auto locks, that's gonna drain a lot of my battery. So if you tap on that, you can adjust that to maybe a minute or even 30 seconds. And that in the long run will help save battery. Next, if you have the iPhone 15 Pro models, then you might have something called Nightstand. Now actually this is for all the iPhone 15 models. So Nightstand is a new feature in iOS 17. If you go into settings, on the main settings page, you should see the option called standby. It's actually called standby, not nightstand. Okay, so this is standby mode. Okay, now you can either disable always on display on the standby mode. that will save you some battery, or you can straight up just disable the standby mode altogether so that your iPhone will not go in standby mode, especially if you have one of those wireless chargers that put your iPhone in landscape mode. Then you'll not have standby mode always going on. Okay, now without standby, you're going to charge your iPhone faster, and there's nothing draining your battery as it's charging, and that will in the long run help maintain the highest level of battery health. And that's it. So those are some of the tips and tricks you can employ on your iPhone 15 and 15 Pro to avoid just draining your battery unnecessarily and compromising your battery health for a long period of time. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments and questions down below, and good luck.